Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Following Films podcast. Before we get into today's show, do me a quick favor. If you're enjoying what we're doing here, take 2 seconds to leave us a review and subscribe. And if you're feeling extra generous, send this episode to a friend who loves movies. It helps us out and helps to keep the lights on. This week's episode is brought to you by the folks at Universal Pictures to celebrate the release of Obsession. They've been kind enough to give us a copy to pass along to one of you. If you want to get your hands on it, we're running a quick giveaway. Just send an email over to editor@followingfilms.com with the subject line, I want Obsession, and tell us why you should win. Just make sure to include your full name and your mailing address in the body of the email so we know where to send it if your name gets drawn. Today, we're talking with Double Danger, the French musical duo who handled the score for Evil Dead Burn. The movie just hit theaters, and if you're a physical media collector, the soundtrack is actually getting a vinyl release this September. If you haven't caught the trailer yet, the film centers on Alice. She's a young widow trying to process the death of her abusive husband, Will. She goes to stay with her former in-laws for a memorial, which already sounds like a nightmare on its own, but when things go completely off the rails, they come across the Necronomicon, unleash the usual Deadite chaos, and Alice has to hunt down the Kandarian dagger to burn the whole family house to the ground just to stop the spread. It takes a lot of those classic messy Evil Dead tropes and grounds them in a pretty dark family dynamic. We talked with Double Danger about how they approach scoring that specific brand of chaos, how they landed on the score for this entry, and what it was like working with such an iconic horror universe. Here's our conversation with Double Danger. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks. Morning.
Hello.
All right, I guess good evening. How are you?
Indeed, yeah, I'm great, thanks. I'm Douglas.
I'm Xavier.
Nice to meet both of you. I'm Chris, so it's a pleasure to speak with you. How are you doing today?
Good.
Good. We are doing a lot of promotion these last few weeks, but it's really enjoyable talking about the soundtrack and seeing all this positive feedback. So it's.
Well, I'm not surprised that you're getting a lot of positive feedback because I loved the film and I love the score to the film as well. It's got to be a little bit nerve-wracking because we're 6 films deep at this point, and there's not many misses in there. So how do you feel about taking on something with like the legacy of the Evil Dead series?
Well, it's been both exciting and a little bit of pressure, of course, because you want to respect this huge heritage of the previous movies, but at the same time, it's a really fun universe to play with. So it's like a huge playground for us, and the horror genre, gives us the opportunity of being like radical in our proposition in terms of textures and everything. So it's been a really crazy journey working on this film. And
you touch on something that was actually one of the first things that struck me about your score for the film. It's the textures of it. That this is a very diverse score. That you have things that are more than just strings and synthesizers. You have things that are like ambient noises that are built into it, and you'll have moments that go into almost operatic levels, but then you have things that sound like, something that are very earth, like it sounds like you're just like something that's like primal almost at times. I'm not sure the words to use to describe it, but it's just this really, really interesting score that you can never quite put your finger on. And I think that really matches the actual film itself, because it's at times very funny. It's at times very sad, at times horrifying. And I think your score is mirroring that really well. And I'm assuming that's part of the objective, is to take that score and just really match those moments with what feel, no matter what it is, and kind of think outside the box with that. Is that accurate?
Yeah, you're right. Because Sebastian always like to, and we like also to conceptualize our soundtracks and focalizing on the textures first before being focused on melodies and everything. We like to create an immersive kind of soundtrack, and one of the first questions we had in mind was how do we make like I don't know how to say it. We wanted like also to treat the house the story takes place in as a character almost, like
Sure.
give it like so. Yeah, we like to match the environment with the textures and instrument we're using. Like so, we use like a double bass for the house because we try to have a sound that is really organic and that matches the like almost the wallpaper, the wood, the so yeah, and also a lot of voices because this house has a huge backstory with the grandfather, the family, and all the lore of the franchise it has in it. Yeah, wanted to create something really immersive
And feel the warm also.
Yes.
Because there's lots of the house is hotter during the movie,
Yes,
and the fire, of course. So we need to
emphasize it with distortions and yeah, it's all about the textures before the melodies. Maybe we like to have this approach on the soundtrack,
which is something that make the textures. That's a brilliant way of putting it, because that's what it is. It's that like almost tangible feeling that you have when you're listening to the score on its own outside of the film, but then when you watch it with the film, and there's this interesting juxtaposition because it's the way you'll pull back and allow the music to explode at times, but there's also moments where you allow for it to be incredibly quiet. And how do you decide when you pull back on the music and allow kind of the film to speak for a moment, and then you really just start to support it in other moments?
Yeah, it has a lot to do with playing with contrast, sometimes being radical, really loud, and sometimes, almost like mixing our soundtrack with the sound design. We had a huge conversation with the sound designer who's called Cesar Mahmoudi, and we had a really collaborative way of working, who does what, and yes, we were very curious about the texture he was going to use and how we can merge into his work. And it's a really long dialogue with the other departments, like the editor, the sound designer, and we really like to, again, have an immersive kind of way of thinking the soundtrack. And yeah, for the quiet moments, we worked as well with our mixer because we worked on Dolby Atmos.
Sure.
And so sometimes when we needed to step aside and give enough room to the sound design, we were like, can we move some of the vocals at the back of the speakers? And it was really fun playing with that. And using the technology to emphasize those contrasts where the scene needed to be quieter or just so loud. And
also, when we work with the script, Sebastian give us also colors for the scenes, for the sequences, so we know where he wants to be big or where he wants to be small. We have colors for that, so it helps us also to be really with him on those ideas.
And so then, are you already composing and putting together ideas prior to seeing the film itself than just based on the script level. You're coming up with themes and sort of these textures that you're thinking of ahead of time.
Yeah, actually, a lot of the soundtrack was composed during the script phase and during our first reading of the script, because we like this. This phase is really important because it's your first emotional connection to the story, and that's where you have the most spontaneous ideas that comes to your mind. So we like to take this moment to just just playing riffs, rocking with textures, composing a lot of ideas, and actually a lot of ideas we composed for during the script ended up in the final version of the movie. And but sometimes it's sometimes you have good surprises, and sometimes you need to wait for the editing and to see, okay, that's not the right direction, and you have to work with the rhythm of the editing. And so there's two really important phases for that. And but yeah, the script phase is really important.
Well, it's sometimes those two things can influence one another, where you're either looking at the edit or they're editing to something that you've already written, or if they've edited to temp score, sometimes you're trying to fit that into the rhythm of the piece, because this does feel like there's an absolute connection between the score and the rhythm of the way the frames are being put together. So the way this was edited, you can't separate the two of them. Just out of curiosity, how do the two of you divide work when you're writing?
Well, we have two distinct roles. Sometimes I'm more kind of a chaotic composer, so I'm most of the time I'm throwing ideas, texture, and the project is like so chaotic with like 100 of layers and tracks. And Xavier is more of like, okay, we have this texture. How do we structure it? How we give a rhythm to that? And so yeah, Xavier is more like of a structure and conceptualize this whole chaos I bring into the project. And yeah, we have both distinct way of working, but we always compose together in the studio because we like to have a dialogue, looking at the sequence or reading the script. We don't like working like separately.
Same room together all the time.
Because one of us is composing, the other one is just like looking at it, having a step back and analyzing what the other guy is doing. So yeah, there's really a kind of a ping pong between the two of us that's really dynamic and important.
Do you find that immediate feedback when you're first writing something to be helpful? Because sometimes if I'm playing around with something, if I'm trying to write a song, or if I'm trying to put together some words and I'm writing a piece, whatever I'm doing creatively, I need a minute to kind of fuck up for a second, where I need to get it wrong before somebody tells me what I'm doing wrong. I have to kind of find my way through it. When you're composing together, how do you give yourself space to kind of find that?
We do the same because we take our moment on the computer and the other one is here just listening, and we know that we are searching for something, so we wait that the other one find what he was thinking. Maybe sometimes it's like weird, you don't know what he's doing, but at the end, that's interesting, or maybe no, that's not good. And we have the same taste, so if one of us saying it's not good, we know it's not a good idea, let's try something else. We don't have ego with that. And
yeah, but it's hard to to not care about what the other is thinking, because when you're alone, it's easier to try stuff and don't care and trying spend 2 hours on a specific sound. But so you have to get through this phase when you just don't care and you feel totally free to experiment, and sometimes doing things wrong, and because sometimes there's little accidents that gives all the magic to a sound, the source of the whole thing. So it's important to
when you're on the computer and this is good, and we go and take the computer.
But it's important to have this mutual trust and respect regarding the creation, and that's the most important thing, because and we have that between us.
Well, I assume there's things that you'll find that the other person might hear that you may have just passed through and said, wait, no, you were onto something. Stop, go back. What was that thing you just did? You had something there, and you may have just been moving through something and not really caught it. So does that happen as well, I assume?
Because we like to make soundtracks that are experimental, and as we are saying earlier, it's all about the textures and the experimental stuff, and it has a lot to do with that. Yeah.
And also, I think because when you're listening and you're not on the computer trying stuff, you don't know what is happening. So you're just with your ear. You don't watch your plugins or that kind of stuff. You don't know what is happening. It's just, I like that. What is that? And the other one can say, I'm doing that. So we can create more, maybe really not with the screen, but really what is happening with the movie and the sound, without watching what we are doing, I think.
Yeah, because you have two different brain configuration when you are on the couch and just listening and in your thoughts and watching the images. It's really different than being in front of the screen and tweaking buttons and everything. There's two different way of brains working together. So and these two approaches are really important. Yeah.
No, that makes perfect sense. And when you're deciding to take on a project, how is it that you say that you feel like this is something that'll suit you? That you feel like, because you've done another film prior to this, how do you say like, okay, this is one that I feel like makes sense for us to take on? Because I think you did a phenomenal job with this film, but how do you know that it's best suited for your talents?
As long as there is a concept regarding the soundtrack, it has a lot to do with the dialogue with the director. When you see that, for example, Sebastian really likes to conceptualize the whole thing, and
he has a strong vision of what he does. So we know he's gonna do something like huge. So it's really exciting to do that with him.
Yeah, for example, for his previous movie called Infested, we had a huge concept regarding the soundtrack, because you have the spiders and this really claustrophobic environment. So we were thinking like, okay, the film talks about spiders, so we're gonna use only string instruments. And make it really small, because we're talking about a small creature. So we wanted something that itches, that scratches, but really small, not too big and orchestral. So it has a lot to do with the concept and the color palette in a way. Yeah.
And that's the strings that you used in that one. That it's just Infested. That is an absolutely unnerving film. It is something that is just incredibly difficult to watch in the best way. It doesn't, you're never feel at ease in that thing. As somebody, I don't care about spiders one way or the other. I live in Arizona, so I'm used to seeing large spiders, but even I was like, okay, this is a lot, man. And especially when you get to like the end sequence in that, it's just, oh, you thought you saw a lot. No, here's a lot for you. And just what a great film. So, and how did you guys get into this though? Doing soundtracks, doing scores, because this isn't a traditional form of music that most people go after for them. It seems like that, a lot of people will, younger people, they might want to do like a type of music. They want to do like dance music. They want to do hip hop. They want to do rock or whatever that is. But to say like two guys saying, okay, we're thinking about film scores. How did you land on that?
Well, for a musician, I think that making scores is the best opportunity to explore all of those genres, like rock music, metal music, like folk music. this world gives you the opportunity to, just play with all those type of music, and because I get bored quite easily, playing a same style of music for months and months, and so the soundtrack universe, each different project gives you a new. A new world to explore. So that's what brought me to compose soundtracks, and I don't know if you want to
it's the same because I do a lot of pop music also. So it's really a place where we don't care about structures or tempo or how many bars for the pre-chorus. We don't care about that. We just watch the sequences or just the rhythms that we want to inject into the music, but we don't have any structure, and I feel free with that. I really like that. Just like a new way of doing music. That's what I like.
Most of us, as people who listen to music, we can listen to everything. We can listen to folk music and metal and classical music, and we can go back between these genres. But then as an audience, we almost expect the musicians to stick in certain lanes, and we kind of say, no, we want this from you. We don't want you to do all these things. That's breaking down, though, because I have a 16-year-old son, and the musicians he listened to, every album is something different. They're messing around with genre and all those things, because I'm 50. And so when I was younger, people were very regimented in what they had to do. If you were playing punk rock and your solo got a little bit too ambitious, people were like, slow down. What are you doing? That's all right, Leonard Skinner. You're not supposed to be doing that. And so I'm glad for younger people that those sort of walls are being knocked down. But then we still have that expectation of artists. So, but you're right, with composers, Danny Elfman, he can jump into all these different styles. He has things that you'll recognize as, okay, he does a thing. Somebody like Philip Glass has a style that he does with the repetition in film scores, but each score can be wildly different to one another. So there has to be something very freeing in that.
Yeah, of course. And this soundtrack universe gives you the opportunity to break all those rules. And as Xavier was saying, you worked a lot in pop music, and you're kind of you have to respect some codes and some structures and everything. And the soundtrack gives you the opportunity to break all the rules, and just
you don't care about having a single or something like that. It's just the movie.
And we come from punk rock music as well. We both grew up with grunge music, like Nirvana and My Bloody Valentine, and
oh yeah, sure.
We like to just have a punk and radical approach regarding the soundtrack, and for example, taking a really noble instrument and thinking, we can destroy this beautiful source and tweak it in the most destructive way. It's kind of or kind of a punk approach. Yeah.
Well, there's. It's interesting that you bring up My Bloody Valentine. I wouldn't have made that connection, but when I think of their music, though, there is this noise that happens in their music that has these, to you, the word you've been using a lot, textures, and that it is so layered. Their music that I can actually, if I think about your music, I can hear that now. I would never have made that connection, but it absolutely makes sense.
We love distortion so much, and the shoegaze movement. We like just have this wall of sound, and
it gives emotions with this distortion stuff, but you can feel it. That's really exciting.
Absolutely, and you're gonna have a vinyl release for this soundtrack. That's pretty fun. That's exciting. I love that people are listening to soundtracks, because it used to be something that was kind of they were difficult to find. You might be able to find like a CD here and there, but now they're very popular, and it's something that it's very common to see when you look through people's records, you'll see a handful of soundtracks in there. Used to just be a couple of us weirdos that would have film scores in their soundtracks. So it's gotten something that's far more common. So that's got to be exciting for you guys, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most beautiful gift you can possibly give to a composer, and we're incredibly grateful that Water Tower Music gave us the opportunity to release this vinyl. And for regarding the artwork, we had the privilege to work with Steve Reeves, who is an illustrator that we love so much, and he said yes, and that all the artwork is just so good, and yeah, we can wait to have this in our hands. I think it's coming out in September, and yeah, we just can't wait. It's the most beautiful thing you can have when you make a soundtrack.
Well, it's cool to have the Blu-ray that you can put on the shelf, but the vinyl that you can put next to those other ones, and that what you're sliding next to in the collection of what you have is kind of exciting. So do you collect vinyl yourselves?
I mean, I have so many vinyls from my father that there's not enough room anymore, because that's how I discovered music, with my father's vinyls, and but yeah, I love the object, and there's a special sound to it, of course, and just. We were so happy to release a vinyl because it makes everything less abstract and more real. It's like you achieve something, and it's a physical thing suddenly, and that's make everything much more realistic. Because when you're releasing songs on iTunes in a digital format, it just you're missing something, and now you have this proof that you made a thing in the history of music and soundtracks. So it truly means a lot. That's why I love vinyl so much, because it allows us to keep a connection with the music physically.
Well, it's there's something that having that tactile, that tangible object that for me, I connect to memory is really what I have so many movies and vinyl. There's things that I'll never watch again that I have, but every single one of those things has a memory attached to it. And so when I'm going through and looking through things, years from now, I'll remember this interview when I come across your soundtrack. I'll go through, and even if I don't put it on that day, there'll be this little thing that'll click in my mind. Like, I remember that. That was fun. I remember that morning when I got up at 6 a.m. to talk to those two gentlemen in France. That was a good morning. I remember that day. And so maybe I'll throw it on. Maybe I'll just move on to the next thing, but it'll always be there. And it's just, it means that memories don't go away. Yeah. And when you're right, when you have it on Apple Music or Spotify, it's so disposable. It's this thing you don't think about. You didn't go somewhere to buy something and pull it into your house and find a place to keep it. You just pressed a button on your phone and it disappears. And
sometimes you don't even remember what was the album for 2 years ago, but you can remember from 10 years ago because you have the object.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Absolutely. There was literally a band that I discovered yesterday. That I just heard a song scrolling through Instagram, came across something, and I can't remember their name right now. And it was something that I hit on 5 different songs, went through, and they're coming to Phoenix in a couple months, and I need to go check them out. But I guarantee you, if I'd gone to a store and bought a record and bought an EP, did something like that, it would be in my mind. I would remember that, but it's already going away that quickly. Yeah. So yeah, I think we need more permanence right now, because things are disappearing too quickly. But
real emotional connection. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, for sure. So what's going to be next for you guys? What do you guys have coming out? What are you working on now?
I mean, we are going to explore a whole new genre, which is comedy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we like challenging ourselves and trying new stuff, and comedy in a way has a lot to do with codes you can find in the horror genre in terms of rhythm, in terms of ruptures, and so there's a French movie
and the story is really good, so we were Okay, let's try that. It's really exciting.
Yeah, and also there's like horror projects and some stuff we can't talk about right now, but we are really excited about it, and we are crossing our fingers right now to so it will really happen. But lots of exciting projects, and we will have the possibility of going out of our comfort zone, and that's the most important thing for us because we've now made 2 horror movies, and we like to explore and comedy and see how it will work.
I miss comedy. I miss it desperately. Here in the US, we don't get comedies nearly enough anymore, and when we do, they kind of disappear. So I don't know if the French audiences are still embracing comedy, but it's something that we desperately need more of right now. Probably more now than ever. And I love horror. It's my favorite genre, my preferred genre. But God damn it, we need some more comedy right now.
And some good comedies because in France, it's not always that good. Yeah, it can be quite racist sometimes. Quite. We miss good comedies, and we've made by young directors that has fresh ideas, and that's the genre that we truly miss also in France. But there's also great directors and great comedies coming out of France, but it's not always the most popular ones.
That's what we have. It's much smaller things that we're seeing. They disappear a little bit faster. If they go to the theaters, they're there for a few weeks, and then you kind of have to find it on a streamer after that. But but thank you both so much for taking the time to do this. I appreciate it, gentlemen. I mean, you've absolutely avoided the sophomore slump. So congrats on that. I'm excited for you're 2 for 2 right now. So I'm excited for whatever's coming next, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was really nice talking with you.
Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Years gone, and what do we have to show? Wasted time that I know, and fear's gone, and where did all of it go? And my pride, and my mind follows my pride. So what's wrong with fixing and plastering though? Oh nothing, not anymore. So sing your victory song, pretend that nothing is wrong, like you don't know. The bandits finally came on, the scars are left to show off. On with the show. Fading songs, let's not repeat the show. Spite, might, and I don't know. Left, wrong, rewind, give it a go. And my spite, and my might follows my pride. So what's wrong with fixing and plastering though?